Hoorah! Ooh, hey Toto! There's this hashtag thing going around the artist community on social media called Draw This in Your Style, where people post drawings of their original characters and ask people to draw them in their own style. Yeah, oh my gosh, there's so many of my favorite artists that are doing this. I gotta draw some of their characters when I get the chance. But I mean, I don't exactly have a huge following. Well, so, like, no one's gonna do it. Well, no, I don't, but... Hey Toto, people did my draw this in your style. I gotta make a video about this. Another word and I'll dye your hair green. That was another word. Hello, it's Zaccura, and how are you guys doing today? No, seriously, how are you? Let me know in the comments. So, I know Draw This in Your Style is already like last week's news because the world moves so freaking fast, but I didn't have time to participate much right when the hashtag started trending, but I love the idea so much and I figured better late than never. I did, however, find the time to do a super quick drawing of my character Willow, which I posted as my own Draw This in Your Style post around 2 weeks ago or so, because I mean, Toto dared me. Come on, I couldn't say no to that. And I was honestly so surprised at how many of you guys drew her. I think there were around 20 or so drawings, and as someone who currently has a few hundred followers on social media, that was way more than I was expecting, and I can't thank you guys enough for drawing my little Willow. Every time one of them popped up in my feed, it just really made my day. So as a thanks, I'll have all the drawings featured at the end of this video. So when I finally had a week to just indulge in drawing and draw this in your styles, I ran into a bit of a dilemma, and that is, I follow a lot of artists, and there were so many super cool characters to pick from, and I simply did not have time to do them all, but I managed to do 7 of them, which is actually quite a bit when I think about it, and squeeze them all into this video. I also decided not only to do some larger artists' characters, but also some smaller artists' characters as well, such as the one that you see me drawing right here. This character, or rather these characters, are called Hannah and Crow, and they belong to a YouTube artist and fellow Artist Guild member named Beth Harding. I thought the original design was so cool, and I hardly ever draw animals, so I had a lot of fun redrawing this picture. And everything about it is just really interesting. It seems like, from the way that they're together, it seems like Hannah and Crow have like quite a bond, and I'm really curious to know what their story is. Like, how did they meet? Why does Hannah have a crow arm? What's the gem on Crow's forehead? I gotta know what's up. Overall, this drawing took me the least amount of time out of all the ones I did because it's just a bust up, so it's not full body, and there aren't that many like super complicated little details, and drawing faces is something that I have quite a bit of practice with, so it was a nice, chill, fun drawing to do. Next up, we have another smaller artist's OC. This character's name is Stan, and he belongs to one of my good artist pals called Drawler. If you've ever made it to my live streams, then you probably know who he is. Drawler's work definitely focuses on a cartoony style, and his characters usually have some sort of charming goofiness to them, which I find really cool. I thought Stan's design was very charming, and I had a lot of fun with all the little details in his clothes and bag and such. But I did struggle a bit with that thumbs up arm. Like, it's slightly foreshortened, but not completely, and it was hard, but I eventually got it. I really like the color palette in the original piece and how all the colors really work together cohesively. Like, at a glance, it's really pleasant to look at. There's nothing clashing or standing out very much. Even the line work isn't completely black, it's like this brown. And so everything just really works together very well. Which is something that I think Drawler has really improved on a lot in recent times. I mean, I found Drawler almost about a year ago now, and within that time, his artwork has improved so much. It's really cool to see your artist friends improve and define their own style over time, and I'm proud of him. Overall, I was pretty alright with how my redraw went. There was only one little issue, and that is Stan is supposed to be like, I don't know, around 14-ish, and my drawing ended up looking just a bit more middle-aged, you know, just a tad. But hey, Stan is supposed to be the top camper at his summer camp, so, you know, maybe that passion stayed with him throughout his life, and even as an older fellow, he's still the top camper at his summer camp. And next we have the last of the smaller artist characters for this video, as well as the drawing that by far took me the longest to draw out of all of them. This character's name is Eton, and he belongs to another good artist pal of mine called PSYcomics, who again, if you've ever made it to my live streams, then you probably know who he is. Sai has quite an interesting comic book / concept art style, and he too has improved a lot from when I first found him. But even from the start, one thing that I really liked about his work was how smooth and flowy his lines are, which is like a total contrast to how I do line work. My lines tend to be a lot sharper and more angular, whereas his are a lot more like, I don't know, clean and roundy, I guess. When it came to Eton's character, I thought his design was totally badass, and I liked him so much that I decided to change up his pose a bit. And I also had some backstory on his character, so that may have attributed a bit to me going a bit ham on this drawing. But let me just say, Eton's design is freaking complicated. I mean, I thought he looked detailed at first, but once I had to actually draw him and really inspect everything, I discovered that this skeleton guy has got like 30 different straps and belts and pouches, and then not to mention the funky designs on all his armor, like, jeez. So about 70% of the time I spent on this drawing was just in the sketching and line work, but it was also very fun. In the end, I went with a pretty dark, dramatic setting, which is kind of ironic because you can hardly see all of the details at the end, but I was quite happy with the result nonetheless, and it is one of my favorites out of all of these Draw This in Your styles. Now it's time to move on to some more well-known artist characters. This one was by Adam from the YouTube art channel called DoodleDate. Many of you probably know Adam and Steph from DoodleDate. They're a couple who make really interesting and funny art vlogs, and their videos always make me smile. I'm actually not sure if Steph did a Draw This in Your style as well. She probably did, but I didn't see it, so I'm just doing Adam's. When it comes to Adam's style, he definitely has an anime-esque cartoony style, which is usually very cute. And one thing that I really like and find distinct about Adam's style are his colors. They're usually quite flat and bold, and yet they go so well together. It never feels clashy or uncomfortable to look at, despite the colors being so bright. And it sort of reminds me of the coloring in old comic books, like the kind that were printed on, you know, like newspaper type paper. And I find it pretty interesting that it's his use of colors that I really like, because if you all know DoodleDate, then you know that Adam is colorblind. He can't quite differentiate certain colors. That was actually the first video I saw from them. It was called The Colorblind Artist Tries to Draw or something like that. I can't remember the exact title of the video, my apologies. But yeah, I find that quite interesting and very cool. I thought this character was super cute. I mean, I want that cherry skirt, it's amazing. And was I the only one who noticed that the little blue button on her shirt says poo on it? I don't know, maybe I was. Either way, this was a really cute and fun character to draw. Next up to the drawing tablet screen is a character named Reggie, and he belongs to an artist and mangaka whose name I'm sure I'll mess up if I try to pronounce, so I'll call her by her nickname, which is Seny. Seny is a mangaka from Hungary, and she has a currently ongoing manga series called Saigami, from which this character is from. Seny's style definitely has that manga look. It's like for sure manga, but it's also very unique, especially with the way that she draws faces. I can definitely tell right away when something was drawn by her, and on top of all that, she has got some mean anatomy and foreshortening skills, which is shown off very nicely in her manga. I'm really glad to have discovered her work because I very quickly fell in love with Saigami. Seny's not only a great artist, but also a really fantastic writer. Her story has that old school shonen feel while having a twist that is unique, and her pacing and character development is like all on point. For her Draw This in Your Style, she actually didn't have one specific piece that she asked people to redraw, but rather asked people to pick any of her works in her Instagram feed to use. And she also combined it with a little giveaway contest thingy. So after scrolling through her feed, I settled on this drawing of Reggie because I just really love the pose. It's so dynamic and cool, and it was nice to bring out my old shonen art style roots with this one and see just how much I've improved from back when this sort of stuff was my main shebang, because sometimes it can be a little hard for me to track my growth because of how much I change my style all the time, but I was quite happy with how everything went in this piece, and it's probably my favorite out of the bunch. And staying in the realm of manga, next up we have a character named Okami, and he belongs to an artist called Studio Odin. Studio Odin was one of the first artists I started following when I first got Instagram about a year ago, and he has a really clean manga style. Like, his sketches are always so clean and aesthetic. His work is just really polished, nothing ever feels awkward or something, but it still definitely has a uniqueness to it. For this Draw This in Your Style, Studio Odin also did a sorta kinda contest thingy, and also didn't have one specific drawing that he asked people to redraw, but rather provided some reference images of his character Okami and asked people to get creative. And the reason is because he has a manga that's going to be coming out about this character, and he wanted to feature some fan art in it. I just thought Okami was so adorable, so I just had to draw him. From what I've seen of this character, he seems to live quite humbly, so I figured he'd appreciate a nice big old bowl of noodles, so that's kind of what I went with. All the reference images for Okami were in black and white, so I didn't quite know what, color anything was, and since he is a manga character, I decided to go with the style that I draw manga and comics in. Not that I've drawn many comics, mind you, but this monochrome style is basically how I would draw comics or manga in. However, as a standalone piece, I felt it looked a little bland in monochrome, so I tried having a little fun with some colored light. So even though this piece looks pretty simple, it took me a while because I was experimenting with the light, but in the end I quite like the result, and I just may end up doing more artwork in the future in this style. Next is a character which I believe is called Indred, and she belongs to an artist called Nano Mortis. I originally discovered Nano Mortis on DeviantArt quite a while back and immediately loved her work. She has an incredibly distinct and unique style that is super recognizable. The only way I can really explain it is dark, angular, and cartoony. Her work often has quite a bit of a darker element to it, sort of macabre, if that's how you pronounce that word, and has very geometric shaping, particularly triangles. Most of her work includes characters. She actually has quite a few OCs, and some of them she makes comic strips for. From the very start, I really loved her work and the storytelling aspect of it. There's always something that you can just kind of look at it and come up with a story with what's the story behind that piece. And it's really cool to know that she originally drew digital art using a mouse, and still sometimes does. Like, I don't know how to draw with a mouse. That's pretty cool. I thought the character for her Draw This in Your Style was super interesting, and it was cool to draw something a bit darker than my normal stuff. Even though I totally changed that heart in the cage to a cute heart shape rather than an actual heart, because I had a lot of fun drawing this character, especially the hair, because I love me some big ol' flowing hair. I also drew this one in a live stream. If you were there, thanks for stopping by. It was quite a long stream and y'all made the process all the more fun. And last but certainly not least, we have the Cactus Girl that Kasey Golden did, which I am officially naming Hilda Pinprick. No one can tell me otherwise, okay? It's canon. Also, I didn't actually do this one last, it was second to last, but who cares? This was the Draw This in Your Style that I probably wanted to do the most when the hashtag just started trending, because, I mean, it's a Cactus Girl. That's just too cool. Most of you probably know Kasey Golden because she has been taking the YouTube artist community by storm. I mean, I found her during Inktober last year and she had about 100,000 subs, and now she has 4 times that and she's still growing super fast, and I am super happy for her. She's a very hardworking lady. I can't imagine making 3 vids a week and doing live streams and keeping up with social media like all the time like she does. It's pretty crazy. Kasey has a really unique and distinct art style that's immediately recognizable at a glance. It's simplistic and yet never boring. I feel like it's just one of those styles that you never get tired of seeing things drawn in. It's always super quirky and fun to see. One thing I distinctly remember about drawing this particular piece was that I drew it on the road. Like, literally, I drew it on the road. And halfway through, my computer was running out of battery, and in my frenzy of trying to figure out how I was going to charge my computer, Clip Studio Paint decided to close on me, and then I realized that I hadn't saved the image. So with me not wanting to have to restart the whole thing, I instead opened up the screen capture footage and took a screenshot of my half-done Cactus Girl, imported it into Clip Studio, and continued working, doing my best to try and hide the graininess of the low-resolution image. It's the reason why the line work is super thick in this one, because I was trying to cover up all the pixels. But overall, I think it came out alright considering the situation. And so that concludes all 8 Draw This in Your Style drawings that I did. Whew. I probably should have done less so that this video wouldn't be so long, but I just couldn't choose. I mean, there are still a bunch that I want to do and probably will do. Like, just not in a video. Check my social media for that. As mentioned earlier, here are all the super cool redraws you guys did of my character Willow. Seriously, you guys have some super cool styles. They were all so unique, creative, and adorable. If this is the first time you've heard of my Draw This in Your Style thing and you'd like to give it a try, then go for it. I will still feature everyone who posts on Instagram on my story, or you can tag me with it on Twitter, DeviantArt, Artamino, or Newgrounds. All the links to that, as well as all the artists whose characters I drew in this video, will be linked below in the description box, so go check them out. Once again, thank you guys so much for participating in my Draw This in Your Style. If it wasn't for you guys, this video probably wouldn't have ever been made, so thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments which of the 8 drawings I did in this video was your favorite, and what did you think about this hashtag, and did you participate in any Draw This in Your Styles yourself? I love to hear what everyone thinks, so let me know in the comments. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell to stay notified for when I upload. I make new videos every week, usually uploading on Sundays, but sometimes it gets delayed, like this time. So yeah, the bell. The bell. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay awesome, stay inspired, always. See ya!